Welcome to the Mainframe Security Insights Platform version 1.0 video about how to identify access to your system-critical resources. Unauthorized access to system-critical resources enables users to perform activities for which they are not normally permitted. Therefore, unsecured system-critical resources offer an unprotected entry point into your mainframe. What are system-critical resources, and how do they put the mainframe at risk? Authorized Program Facility Libraries, or APFLISTs, contain programs that are authorized to perform system-sensitive functions. LINKLIST libraries, or LINKLISTs, contain commonly used system and user modules that can perform APF-authorized functions based on parameter settings. Link Pack Area Libraries, or LPALISTs, contain common modules that are shared across the system and can perform APF-authorized functions. Parameter libraries, or PARMLIBs, contain control parameters that are used across the system. APF authorization and other security options are specified in these dataset members. Securing access to these resources helps prevent misuse. Misuse can compromise the operating system environment, the access control program, and customer data. One of a security administrator's primary goals is to limit access to system-critical resources to align to the least privilege model, supporting a zero-trust security architecture. The least privilege model is the practice of limiting a user's access rights to the minimum level that is required to perform his or her job functions. The System Critical Access Report helps the security administrator achieve this goal. The report correlates data from your mainframe and your external security manager to provide a comprehensive list of your system-critical resources, which users can access those resources, and risk findings and recommendations per resource. This data provides insights into existing security risks for your system-critical resources and what remediation opportunities exist, so that you can remove unnecessary or unauthorized access to further secure your mainframe. Let's log in to Security Insights using mainframe credentials to build a system-critical access report. From the home page, select Build Report on the Identify Access to System-Critical Resources tile. To start building the report, select the system to run the report against. Then select the access level, which is a user's access to a resource as permitted by the external security manager. Here, the system is running top secret, so the access levels are top secret specific. However, if the system were running ACF2 or RACF, the access levels would be specific to that ESM. To narrow the report results, select specific access levels. For example, if you're concerned only with users with update or write access, select All, Update, and Write. Next, select a risk configuration for your report. Re-provide a default risk configuration, or you can build your own by clicking Create Configuration. A risk configuration defines the parameters for evaluating the risk to your mainframe data. Based on the selected risk configuration, the report results provide a risk level and recommendations per resource record. This information offers you a better understanding of your security posture. Optionally, clear the checkbox to exclude one or more resource types from your report. By default, all resource types are selected. Then select Build Report. Optionally, give your report a meaningful name to make it easy to locate, and include an email address to be notified when a report status change occurs, such as when your report completes. Click Create Report. Your report begins to generate. When your report completes, click the report name hyperlink to review the results. Let's take a look at the results for an out-of-the-box sample System Critical Access Report for Top Secret. The report results help you identify and reduce risk to your mainframe. The risk level provides a risk assessment per resource based on the risk parameters in the risk configuration and the recommended steps to mitigate the risks. This information helps you prioritize and address security vulnerabilities. Click the risk level label to see the details and recommendations. Optionally, you can view the risk scores by toggling the Show Scores option. The data source and volume serial columns provide the library name and where it resides on your system to help you locate the resource on your mainframe. The data source status shows the status of each resource as found or not found. This information can drive further remediation steps. For example, a status of not found is of concern because a library of the same name can be placed on the volume and inherit the APF authorization. If we sort on this column, we see 4 resources with a not found status. These findings require further investigation. The Listed Under column provides the resource type per resource. Global access means providing wide access to users by applying access to the resource itself. In a top secret system, permitting access to the all security record grants a wide access. Similarly, for ACF2, it would be UID asterisk or role dash. And for RACF, it would be the Universal Access Authority in the dataset profile. Knowing the global access levels assigned to the resource helps you identify potential security exposures. You can then determine whether the global access for the resource is valid or should be removed. For example, if we sort on this column, we see 9 resources with global accesses. These accesses should be reviewed to determine whether they are needed. Entitlement count is the number of users with permission to the resource for the access levels that you selected when building your report. This count shows additional access outside global access and is based on the entitlements given to a user or group in the External Security Manager. This information shows you which resources have the most users with access. The more users with access, the higher the potential risk. For example, if we sort on this column, we see that SYS2 Platinum LPALIB has 11 users with access. Let's sort the results by highest risk level. Then we'll drill into this APFLIST resource to see its details. The Risk Level tab shows the risk findings and recommendations, which we saw on the previous page. We see that the APF library is not found, which can be a security risk. Under Recommendations, we see a suggestion for the security admin to work with the system programmer to ensure obsolete definitions are removed and to optionally start monitoring critical library lists like APFLISTs using Compliance Event Manager. The Users tab shows a user ID-centric view of access to the resource, including user IDs, usernames, the group that permitted the access. Here the system is running top secret, so the group is by profile, and the specific access level that each user was granted. From the Profile column, we see a user without a profile listed. This user was permitted access to the resource directly, rather than through a profile. As a best practice, grant user access through profiles for improved security. To see a group-centric view of access, click the Groups tab. We see that the SysProf profile granted access to this resource. Click a profile name to see a list of users who were granted access through this profile. For example, we see that Jeff Hardy is included in the list of users with update access. Jeff retired last year, so his access to this resource should be removed from the profile. In this video, you learned why it is vital to protect your system-critical resources and how to create a system-critical access report so that you can understand existing security risks in your system-critical resources, review recommendations for limiting these risks, and determine what remediation opportunities exist for limiting access to align to the least privilege model. For more information about security insights, go to the product page at this URL. From the product page, you can access services, product documentation, learning paths, and communities.